A warm greetings from Kidney Warrior Foundation. I, Yangshin Dolma, am really very privileged to be moderating today's conversation. I am a post-transplant patient as well as a member of Kidney Warrior Foundation. Kidney Warrior Kidney Warrior Foundation is India's largest patient support group for patients with kidney diseases. We have a network of 5,000, more than 5,000 people, including families from all over the country. And our organization is dedicated for the well-being of patients facing kidney health challenges. We are also very fortunate to be supported by various healthcare professionals in the field of kidney health. Now today, the purpose for today's conversation is to discuss about this book, The Kidney Warriors Edition 2, which is authored by none other than the CEO of Kidney Warrior Foundation, Vasundhara Raghavan, and our editor is Reni George. So we are in conversation with Reni George. Reni, a warm welcome, and thank you so much for agreeing to do this conversation. Welcome.
Thank you, Yangchen. Thank you for that wonderful introduction to Kidney Warriors Foundation, the reason why we are here today.
Yeah. So I won't be introducing Reni because I want her to introduce herself, her personal, introduction, as well as Reni. I want you to share in brief about, it must be a very long story, but I just wanted you to share with our audience in brief about how you landed up as the editor of this book. Over to you, Reni.
Thank you, Yangchen. So, yeah, it sounds very fancy, of course, to be known as the editor. This book itself is such a huge project, a dream project of Vasundhara Raghavan. Yeah. So how I landed up as the editor, and I mean, to see my name there, it's a big thing for me also.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so I joined Kidney Warriors Foundation as a post-transplant person, and I came upon Kidney Warriors Foundation by chance, and so professionally, I was qualified to be a teacher, and I've taught for several years. And it was CKD that which caused me to give up this career in teaching. And so I was at home managing my illness. But after transplant, like most others, I became a little more active. And it was fortunate that I came across Kidney Warriors Foundation. I joined the community. And it was around the time that the new website was being created. So I was able to contribute in the form of some content. And then Vasundhara ma'am, as you know, is very good at identifying talent, making more and more people involved in the Kidney Warriors activities. So so automatically, knowing that I have been an English teacher, the editing came to me for the website. And I also contributed some of the content. And once all that was done, this was about 2 years ago that Vasundhara ma'am mentioned that she has plans of a second edition to Kidney Warriors. Because many of you would have read the first edition. I too had purchased that book and read most of it. So when the idea of a second edition was brought up by Vasundhara ma'am, she told me, I want you to work with me on it. And hesitantly, I accepted. And I never thought in my wildest dreams it would be such a huge project, because initially the articles came trickling in one by one. So I was just looking at individual articles, stories of patients. But so over the 2 years, that's what we did, individual articles. And then the doctor's articles, of course, were collected by Vasundhara ma'am. She got the doctors to contribute. The topics were suggested by her. And it was only in the last few months, say about 5 or 6 months, that we kind of put everything together. Like we decided to organize the articles into various sections, then the section titles, and even the stories. They're not just randomly picked. Right? We've tried to cover various aspects. Like there are even patients on dialysis, then patients post transplant. Then we have caregiver stories, which also include stories of donors. Some of the caregivers are donors themselves. Um, and we've also tried to include a range of causes for kidney disease. Like there are the common causes like diabetes, hypertension. But there are also rare cases like lupus-induced kidney disease, then pregnancy-related kidney failure. So yeah, so that was the work related to this, and then the final stages, of course, that is when we spent most time on it, putting everything together, and editing. Yeah, and one good thing is that Vasundhara ma'am was always consulting me on everything. All the emails, even with the doctors, with the publishers, were all copied to me so that I was aware of everything that was happening. She always took my suggestions, and we were dependent on each other's inputs at every stage. So um, I must say it was a wonderful process of working on the book, um, and Vasundhara ma'am was very supportive at every stage. So I'm sure she's also equally proud of the final
Yeah.
thing that we have.
So it's a really a long 2 years means a lot. 2 years working hard on this project. I must say it has come out very nice, and the language is very simple to read and very very reader friendly. That is, I should say, and it has come out very. The sections are also like they have come out very nicely. So I must congratulate, especially Vasundhara ma'am and you, Reni, for working so hard on this book. So now I just want you to go back, and then I know you must have read each and every articles more than 100 times to edit it, isn't it? So like whichever stories, I won't say it's stories, lived experiences of a dialysis patient, of a post transplant patient, or a caregiver, whichever would you like to share with the audience, so that at least they have some idea what kind of lived experience are in this book. So Reni, would you like to share some of the stories?
Okay, yeah, definitely. But before we go on to the stories, um, I want to point out to the main focus of the book. So it was not the purpose is um, is a very serious one. It was not just to share stories. So one main reason why this book was necessary is that the realization that kidney patients need to be recognized. They go through a lot of
Yeah.
angst, of
Hmm.
the feelings of isolation, and
Yes.
they go through a lot of struggles in dealing with the disease, in managing the disease. But it's very few people who really understand. Sometimes even family doesn't understand. Society,
Agree.
very few people know. So that was one purpose, that was one focus, to bring out, or to give the due recognition to kidney patients. Besides that, there is a section on advocacy where
Hmm.
prominent doctors have spoken out in support of the needs of kidney patients, what they really need, what the country and what the society should do for them. Then there are articles on prevention. Yeah, so that's one point I want to stress. This is uh, uh, this is one of the main goals of Kidney Warriors Foundation itself, and that has been brought out through this book. The focus on prevention, because as you already know, or many of our viewers will know, that kidney disease is spreading at a very fast rate. Right?
Yes.
So prevention, awareness is necessary for prevention. Then and then there are doctors' articles which are meant to address the gap in communication. So very often a patient also is not aware of how to deal with the disease or what to do when diagnosed. Right? So they need the right kind of guidance and advice from doctors about continuing their medication. Because there are persons who tend to stop their medicines when they feel better. They think they are, or they assume that they are cured, or they feel better and they discontinue without the doctor's advice. So the doctors need to properly advise their patients regarding continuing their medications. So these are some of the main aspects that the book has focused on. Now, coming to your question, so you wanted me to talk about some of the most striking stories. Okay.
Yeah, so any like lived experience which touched your heart, or which you think that people should be, told about. So whichever, whatever you feel appropriate.
Okay. So if you see the sheer volume of this book, it's one midsection that has all the stories, and there are over 50 stories. Okay. And these are not just stories. When you think of stories, they're just, maybe imaginary. But these are, like you said, rightly said, these are lived experiences, patients' lived experiences. And they are meant to raise issues. So when a patient narrates his or her stories, it's not just to talk about her life or experience. It is also to raise issues. We have patients raising pertinent issues or things that they have faced. So the purpose is to raise issues and to create awareness. So when you read a story, you are also aware of certain things that you probably never knew before. Right? So in most of the stories, in spite of the struggles that patients go through, you see them ultimately coming out victorious, not by being cured. Nobody is cured of kidney disease, right? There's no cure. Nobody is cured, but the patients are warriors because they find ways to live with the condition. They accept and live with the condition. So in that way, they are victorious. Now, if you look at the first section, it's dedicated to patients on dialysis. So there's one story of a patient on dialysis who says she did not get timely advice, right, on medication to control hypertension. So she was diagnosed with hypertension, but she didn't know the need to take the medicines. She didn't get the right kind of advice. She didn't know what kind of diet to follow, the renal diet. She was not aware of the fluid intake or restrictions on fluid intake while on dialysis. So it shows that particular story shows how crucial it is to be informed. So if she had the information, she would have been more cautious. She had to face a lot of complications because she was not informed. Then we have stories of persons on dialysis who you would never know they are patients going through dialysis because they exude so much of positive energy. We have a person who's focused on fitness and health in spite of being on dialysis. So he's dedicated to fitness, and then we have one very informative chapter on dialysis, because every individual patient can get information from his or her doctor, but these are points put together by persons who've been on dialysis for many years, and from what they have learned from their experiences, how to prepare for a dialysis, what to expect, and yeah, and how to ensure that a person gets good dialysis. So this kind of information has been put together by a group of persons who've been on dialysis. And so this section offers guidance to those who are going through dialysis. Right. And then moving on to the section where we have stories or experiences of persons after transplant. Right. We have one very high achiever, highly motivated. This person had an additional disability, that is, from childhood, he had loss of vision and went almost completely blind. So, and in spite of this, he went on to, he's still achieving big things in life, doing things, keeping himself motivated, and is so kidney disease itself is a kind of I wouldn't say disability, but it can put an end to a person's career, or affect a person in so many negative ways. But here, in spite of kidney disease, in spite of disability, this person has gone on to achieve many things in life, and he's a very successful entrepreneur. So I would suggest that everyone should read these experiences of patients to be motivated. Then we have one particular person after who went through a lot of challenges while no, she didn't have difficulty in getting a donor. That is one of the big challenges that most persons waiting for a transplant face. So this person didn't have that issue. Instead, she faced legal challenges. So, so a person who's preparing for a transplant knows that it involves a lot of paperwork and a clearance by the committee and things like that. But this person faced legal challenges, which she was able to overcome after a lot of, going through a lot of a maze of what do you call the procedures. So she was finally able to get clearance for her transplant. And so what makes this story amazing is that it motivated her to work
Advocate.
towards not just educate, but to work towards making the process easier for other people, to make it easier for other persons to navigate the system of getting a clearance for a transplant. So she fought for that, and I'm sure that is, yes, to change policies, and I'm sure that is helping a lot of other people who are going through the same situation now.
Wonderful advocacy work by her.
Right. Yes, definitely. Okay. And like I mentioned at the beginning, we have various reasons for kidney failure that have been covered. So there are two persons who rare diseases also. So there are two patients who lost their kidneys because of lupus. It's a rare condition, and so that has been covered. There are two persons who are dealing with occasional relapses because of lupus, but continuing their fight and doing great things in life, staying active and living well with a transplant.
Yeah.
So we see that most of the warriors have succeeded in um, channeling their energies to areas of interest that keep them motivated and give them a purpose in life. Right? So that's these kind of stories are really motivating to anyone. Kidney disease can can drain a person mentally, physically, and
Yeah.
make you feel that there's nothing more to life. But when you read these experiences, you will realize that these persons have succeeded in motivating themselves and found a purpose in life. Um, then we also have um, some patients who were diagnosed in childhood at very young age, even 3 years, 4 years. One was at the age of 9, one at 15. So we have stories of children who went on to complete their education, higher education, following up after the diagnosis. They were fortunate to have a transplant and then went on to achieve big things, complete education, land up good jobs,
Yeah.
or do big things in life. So it's been a long journey for some of them, starting from very early
Childhood.
childhood.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, then another set of stories is about um, patients who are living well after a second transplant. So they've lost their first transplant for various reasons, either after a long period or maybe because they've been careless after the first transplant. They've learned it the hard way, what they need to do to take care of the graft. So this, I feel it brings into focus the need for, to facilitate easy registration for cadaver, because it's not easy to get a closely related donor a second time. One has to look outside the family. And for these persons, there should be some kind of priority in a cadaver registration list. So that is something that these stories indirectly convey for persons who have had a second transplant. It's with some difficulty that they manage to get a second donor. Then another interesting thing is that we have stories that were narrated in the first Kidney Warriors. And there are about 3 or 4 stories that have a sequel here in this second edition. They've narrated their stories in the first one. So you can see over I think it's about 6 years now since the first edition.
Yes.
So it shows you how, their stories are continued here, shows the gradual changes in their lives and how they have moved forward. And the fact that their stories are here also points out that they've been closely associated with Kidney Warriors Foundation, and they're carrying forward the work of Kidney Warriors Foundation. So, so it's their way of kind of giving back to
the society. Yeah.
Yes, and to the foundation. Um, Then with the stories, you mentioned that they're narrated in simple language. So that is because we aim to reach out to a wide audience. And
I understand.
yeah, and also as far as possible, we have retained the original narration. We've made changes only where necessary. Sometimes we've had to shorten some of the lengthy ones, but as far as possible, we've stuck to the original stories given in by the warriors,
Patient.
by the patients themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Then, okay, that was about transplant warriors. And then we have a
Okay.
special section on, yes, the caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is unique because many, not many, but a few at least, are donors themselves. So you can
Mm-hmm.
imagine the dual role. Um, it's not easy for a person to be a donor and then a caregiver for the rest of his or her life. So, what makes a person want to become a donor? What a thought process goes on in their minds? These are all brought out through their stories. For some, the decision was instant when they see maybe a child or a partner, a spouse, or yeah, it's mostly that. So when they see a person suffering, they make the decision instantly. And for some, it takes a lot of deliberation. There is much thought process involved, whether they want to donate or not. But once the decision is made, there is no going back.
Mm-hmm.
So that is about the donors who become caregivers. And then we also you can also read about struggles faced by a caregiver. And most of the time, the focus is on the patient, and the caregiver's role is taken for granted. Right? He or she is not suffering. He is not going through anything. That's what everyone assumes. So in this section on caregivers, they narrate their experiences, what it feels like to see a loved one suffer and to be there, and controlling his or her own emotions
Yeah. Ups and
before.
downs of emotions.
Yes,
They suffer. Yeah.
they cannot express it in front of the person who is actually suffering. So their challenges are also brought out. Yeah, so that kind of covers the stories.
Yeah. Very
And then,
beautiful. Mhm.
right,
It's all about resilience of our warriors, which is
right,
highlighting in the experiences shared by them.
right.
So I think this is very helpful. I feel personally, I feel that if this book, uh, the most important part of this book is to help the newly diagnosed kidney patients who really need to relate to somebody. If these all are real life experiences, so if a person who is newly diagnosed and he does not know, like for example is advised dialysis, then if he reads those dialysis patients doing very good and all, it will give a motivation, positive energy to this patient, that and give hope to these patients. That's what I feel. So all about resilience. But having said that, did you feel at any times the positive thing is there? Of course, these all the stories are very inspirational at the end. But during your edition part, have you ever felt emotional or carried away with the emotional, the lived experiences which you were reading, because you had to read again and again to edit the content? So have you faced that emotional ups and downs
Good
sometimes?
question, Yangchen. Yes, good question. Actually, yes, the very first time you read a story, that is when you get it for the first time. Yes, it can affect emotionally, but finally, when I was going through the process of editing um, and then again check proofreading and all that, it became just work, I must admit. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but it doesn't mean that I don't feel at all. Like I said, that impact is there when you read it the very first time.
Mm-hmm. So it's not only one story or two story. It's been around 50 stories you were like
That's
loaded with, so different types of emotions. You might be like thinking, oh, so what were like inside, apart from the editing part, is there any thought going on, like thinking about those patients or anything like that, or you were purely professional?
Um, yes, the thoughts about the patients are always there. And with some of them, when we needed more information, additional information, I had to contact them, speak to them directly over phone. With some, it was through email communication for
Yeah.
additional information.
Yeah, I remember you mailing me and said, give information on this part. Yeah, I remember
Yes,
on my story. Yeah.
yes, to make
Mm-hmm.
it more well-rounded, and
Mm-hmm.
because there are questions that naturally arise in a person's mind while reading.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the kind of questions that we try to find answers for. And yes, I did get to speak to some patients, um, and of course with some of them, like you said, I've been wondering like what's happened after that. There are some who are waiting for a transplant, and I'm also waiting to know, did they get it? Did they
Mm-hmm.
finally go through the transplant? What they're doing
Mm-hmm.
now? Okay. Yes, these thoughts still linger, but since we are a community and we get to know about what's going on in one another in each other's lives, so
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, so there is some information that we do get about them. But I must say, when I read the first edition of Kidney Warriors,
Mm-hmm.
it was purely uh, the impact was purely emotional. I couldn't get beyond maybe one or two stories. But here it involved work. So there was
Work,
work to be
yeah.
done.
Yeah.
We had deadlines. So yeah, we tried to keep emotions out of it after the very first reading.
I understand, I understand. Yeah. So first edition was you were just a reader and just
Right.
trying to, understand the stories of people who have lived those
Yes, absolutely.
incidences. Yeah. Um, so then we also have a section of our doctors and also a very rich bank of knowledge related to kidney disease or uh, how to care about in very specific after post transplant, what are the important things which the doctors have shared. Would you like to put a highlight on some of the important parts?
Right. Yes. There is a big section with articles by doctors, and there is information for everyone in these sections. There's an article on how to care for the fistula. Now, a person who gets a fistula surgery done just goes through dialysis, sometimes not knowing how to take care of the fistula and not even knowing that one needs to take care of it. So there is an article on managing and caring for the fistula. Then um, and then many patients on dialysis face other um, unrelated health issues, comorbidities like ups and downs in their blood pressure values, then diabetes. Those who are diabetic have their sugar levels going out of control. So there's an article, very good article on managing these morbidities for patients on dialysis. And then there's a comprehensive, very comprehensive article on vaccinations. You know,
Mm-hmm.
one always relates vaccinations to childhood, and then once you're grown up, you don't many don't even know the need for vaccinations. But um, there is a very interesting article on essential vaccinations. That's the title of this article: Essential Vaccinations for People with Chronic Kidney Disease. And there's a special mention of the different vaccines recommended for all CKD patients, then the specific ones for those on dialysis before they start dialysis, and and the ones for transplant patients who are
Yeah.
generally told to avoid any kind of vaccination. So they need to know the vaccinations they ought to take before they go for a transplant or while they're preparing for a transplant. Then
Mm-hmm.
then there's an article on the care after kidney transplant. Very detailed, 10 important points have been covered on nutrition, exercise, and management um, of a patient after a transplant. The things that one needs to know, like preventing infections, then what kind of exercises can be done. A lot of people ask these questions. So this article gives details on that. And then there's an article on BK virus. Many of us haven't even heard of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, even I didn't know about BK virus till about recently. And so there's a very interesting and informative article on facts related to BK virus and the treatment, um, especially for this is something that a person after kidney transplant needs to be aware of and take measures to prevent. And of
The
course,
diagnosis part also. The diagnosis part was
yes,
also informative, very informative.
yes, there is
Yeah.
information on how it can be diagnosed.
Yeah.
And then we have two very different and new areas in kidney kidney care. That is, one is on conservative kidney management. It gives you information on sometimes patients are unable to cope with dialysis. When dialysis is the only choice, but they're unable to cope with it. So this is especially with respect to patients who are aged like 70 years and above, who struggle with dialysis and have a lot of complications. So the doctor here suggests conservative kidney management. So those who don't know what is conservative kidney management, they must read this chapter. And then there's focus on women's health issues with with kidney disease and post kidney transplant. Okay, so as women, we need to. This article is important because it brings to focus the issues faced specifically by women, which is not always given much importance. And then, of course, we have an article contributed by our team of dietitians and nutritionists. A whole team worked together. They've always been supportive of the work done by Kidney Warriors Foundation, and we've seen them in
Yes.
some sessions, webinars, and some live
Even our
sessions.
books as well, we have the nutritional secret, and we have
Yes,
two books for nutritional.
yes,
Yeah.
Yangshin, yes, you rightly pointed out to that. We
Yeah.
have nutritional secrets, which were also contributions by our supportive
Many of
nutritionists. So this chapter on factors in the role of diet and lifestyle as factors influencing NCDs, non-communicable diseases. This has been outlined in a very detailed manner, and it points out to the importance of nutrition right from the time of birth.
Yeah, this is not only for the kidney patients, but for overall everyone.
Yes, and for prevention as well.
Yes.
This is before being. This is the kind of nutrition or diet that one needs to follow to prevent any kind of disease, not just kidney disease, but any kind of disease. Following a healthy diet and lifestyle, it gives a lot of. There are charts with nutritional values of different foods that we commonly consume. So it's a very informative article, and it's a coordinated work by 6 or 7 different highly experienced nutritionists and dietitians.
Then also I have seen in this some of the organizations who are working for kidney health and all you have. So would you like to talk about these organizations a bit? At
Well,
the
it's not
end,
a
we have,
right. It's not a complete list, but
yeah,
we've listed
some
out a
of them.
few active organizations who are involved in. People can reach out to them depending on the city that they live in. Like there
Yeah.
are ones based in the south, in
Mm.
Bangalore, in Chennai. So those who need um, help, information, can reach out to these organizations. So these chapters give details on the work done by some of
These
these
are-
foundations
Yeah.
and how they're actively involved um, in making lives better for kidney
Mhm.
patients in their own communities.
Yeah, whether it's a dialysis program or organ donation or kidney, other kidney, diseases also. So it's very nice to, go back and see your hard work. So how are you feeling?
Um,
Okay, this
yes,
is
when I hold this
very
book,
bulky book. Yeah,
yes,
bulky book.
very, yeah, there is a sense of accomplishment, but our um, our final goal is to make this reach everyone who should take care of their health, who should do everything possible to prevent this
Mhm.
kidney disease. And I would recommend that every person read this book, not just kidney patients, but everyone, a general population. So I'd suggest that whoever has received the book, whoever has bought the book already, spread the word and make sure that you get your friends, your um, family, your relatives, your loved ones to read and become aware. So only then will our mission, our goal
Hard
be
work. Yeah,
achieved.
hard work.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So, would you like to talk about this very colorful cover? How it came out to be this colorful and very vibrant. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, so a final word on the appearance of the book. Yes, it is like you said, very vibrant, colorful, and look at all those smiling
yeah.
faces.
Who are
Who,
these people?
yeah, who would say that we have persons on dialysis, we have people who are active after a transplant and also on dialysis. It's so colorful, so
Yeah,
vibrant. Um, so the idea, initially we were not clear about, what to have for the cover. Um, it had to be and attractive to everyone, not just to, we didn't want it to look like, a book on health or on, medical related. So it was, sometime, just about a few months ago, when we were nearing completion of the content, that Vasundhara ma'am came up with the idea of getting photographs of the contributors of these stories.
so
Um,
these are the contributors of the book,
yes,
patient
some of
contributors.
them,
Okay,
not all,
okay.
some of the contributors.
Mm-hmm.
And so ma'am got a professional designer to put them together. So yeah, so this is what we have finally, a very colorful,
But they
vibrant,
all are
attractive
patients, right?
cover.
They all are
They are.
patients, right? Yes.
Um, that is, if
Very
you
patient.
if you say a person after transplant is a patient, yes, or they were patients, now they're
Yeah.
living healthy lives after a transplant, and then there are some who are on
On dialysis.
dialysis but still
Yes.
active, very
Everyone is
active in life.
smiling. Everyone is
Yes,
smiling. And
yes,
very
they
colorful.
have
Yeah.
reasons to smile. Yeah,
Mm. And some seems very adventurous also.
absolutely. Yeah,
Which is
there is no limit to what one can do in life, in
so I
spite of
think
being a kidney patient.
this cover gives message that despite of kidney disease, you can have a very adventurous life, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yes, you can
If you
say it
really
that
want
way.
it to be. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So these
So
pictures, the cover itself is inspiring in that way.
mhm. this has come out very beautiful, in fact. So I think our time is going to be over. So do you like to, give any signing off message to all the audience, be it the patients or be it the normal population, whoever is, watching us? Would you like to give any signing off message?
Um, I've already said it. That is, whoever uh, who has received the book must spread the word, see that others also benefit from this, and those who have not yet, you may order the book on, there are many
Amazon, I think.
e-commerce sites on which it's available,
Yeah,
on Flipkart, Amazon. So
yeah.
go ahead and buy the book, Amazon and Flipkart, I think. Yes, you can buy it from there. So go ahead and order the book. Um, it's not just a one-time read. You can keep it as a reference book. Any doubts on kidney disease,
Yes,
or even for the general population, how you can, what you can do, what you should do to prevent kidney disease, the kind of lifestyle to follow, the diet to follow, exercise. So all that is there in this book. Yeah. So my final pitch is that you get a book, get a copy for yourself, and read it.
yes, yeah. So this, in fact, will be also helpful if any case in your community, if someone needs motivation also. This can be a book which, if they read, they may get motivated to have a very positive, energy and think positive and have hope in life, because there are many
Absolutely.
people who have, developed hope and they have shown resilience. So I think it will be very beneficial if you have this book at your home. I guess.
Absolutely,
So,
yes, you said
yeah.
it right.
So with this, I think we'll sign off. Thank you from Kidney Warrior Foundation for watching us, and hope this will be helpful for everyone who listen to us and watch us here. So with this hope and um, prayer that everyone will stay a very healthy and happy life. Thank you so much. Thank you, Reni. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.